welcome to episode 32 of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. I'm Kimberly, your host, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Did You Bring the Hummus is a podcast to help you go vegan. This season, I'm sharing new episodes every Monday discussing all things vegan. Most importantly, we'll talk about how to embrace this meaningful decision with fervor and fun. Episodes post every Monday on your favorite podcast app. Before we get started, I have one very important question for you. Did you bring the hummus? Today, I am joined by Ania Lees of HealthyWithAnia. Ania is a certified plant-based nutritionist and founder of HealthyWithAnia, your one-stop solution for those wanting to adopt a plant-based diet. For the past 3 years, through nutritional workshops, weight loss programs, and kitchen transformation programs, Ania aims to spread the message that vegan food is not only healthy, but also tasty and easy to prepare. She has presented at a number of festivals, including London Plant Power Expo, Singapore Vegan Festival, the Conscious Festival, Green and Healthy Festival. She has recently co-authored a book, My Voice, a collective memoir by women of substance. Ania is a passionate foodie, loves to cook and create new recipes. She believes that vegan food does not need to compromise on flavor. Being fascinated with nutritional science, she uses her knowledge about science behind the food and wants to show you the links between your food, health, and well-being. Through her events, she not only teaches what to put on your plate, but more importantly, what not to. On a daily basis, she educates people to be more aware of what they eat, as the right diet is the single biggest change which can truly change our health. This episode is chock full of info you don't want to miss. Hi, Ania. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hello, Kimberly. Thank you very much for the invitation. I love your podcast. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you. I can't wait to talk about all the things that you're doing and your focus on health and how being vegan can improve our lives in so many ways, especially how we tend to our bodies. So first, before we get to that, I'd love for you to just share your vegan journey. How did you find this and just tell us how it all came to be?
I actually don't have a big breakthrough. Sometimes when I hear the stories of people which overcame the big sickness which they had, some obstacle in their life, I was lucky. I actually never had it. I was vegetarian since I was 11 years old. So I would say all my grown up conscious life before it was my parents' decision. But when I was about 11, I said to my parents, that's it. I'm not eating meat and fish. I was born and raised in Poland, and that time the concept of vegetarian was not really known. So I actually didn't use that term. I just explained to people I don't eat meat and fish, and the fact that I'm actually vegetarian came a bit after. And I was about 30 years old, so vegetarian already most of my life, when my grandmother passed away with cancer, and my mother had a cancer episode, and it was somewhere in the back of my mind. What can you do to prevent cancer, especially breast cancer? So I did my own little research, and a whole food plant-based diet came. I don't want to say magic solution because that will be exaggeration, but as the best possible thing I can do at the moment. So I started to read about it, and first few times I just couldn't imagine my life without cheese. Although I was vegetarian, I think my relationship with cheese was rather unhealthy. I couldn't cook without cheese. I couldn't eat without cheese. My biggest indulgence was cheese. I used to love stinky French cheeses, Italian, everything. And then I came to my vegan hero, which I still admire today, which is a British blogger. Now it's not only a blogger, she's a food producer, Deliciously Ella.
Ah.
And when I came across her recipes, I bought her first book. I made few recipes, and to my surprise, I actually enjoyed it. And then I decided I can actually go whole food plant-based diet. It's not as bad as it seemed. I think before I saw a lot of salad recipes, some dehydrated dishes, which was a bit difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
Deliciously Ella showed me that whole food plant-based diet can be absolutely delicious. And then somehow it started. Now it's more than 5 years ago.
Okay, that's amazing. What made you at the age of 11 say, I don't want to eat meat and fish anymore?
That's probably when I started to be a bit more stubborn, because actually I never liked meat. My mother told me I was 3 or 4 years old. She got a phone call from kindergarten when the lunch was mandatory. I love broccoli, I love spinach, I love all vegetables and potatoes, which is the main starch in Poland, but I didn't like any meat.
Mm.
So being vegetarian was super easy to me. I just didn't like any meat, or even worse, fish. Fish was the smell which I couldn't take very well as a child. I never liked it. And to me, it was just, I think it's also time when my parents gave up. Because to me, childhood is a world of discussions, that's a polite way to put it, fights with my parents, bribing, threatening, forcing, eat your meat because you cannot grow without meat. And they were not happy that I love my broccoli and spinach. They wanted me to eat my meat. So to me, eliminating meat was just natural.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about it. It just came, and obviously I never looked back. Going vegan was harder. I'm not going to lie. It did not happen overnight because I did love cheese, and it took me about 6 months when I could sit happily next to someone who would have a cheese platter and feel nothing. Because over this approximately 6 months, I felt a few times. I saw a bit of cheese. I'm like, oh, I just try a little bit. But I think it's like any other addiction. It just takes time, and it's important not to give up after first failure,
Mm-hmm.
second or third or fourth.
That's right. Yeah. I went vegetarian and I was almost 21. It was 2000. Yeah, I was almost 21. And I had let go of all animal products except for cheese in what I was eating. But I had even gotten rid of my leather shoes, leather handbags, all that stuff. I was like, I was vegan essentially, except for cheese. And I wanted to stop eating cheese, but man, it really was addictive. And anytime I'd try and there'd be somebody eating pizza nearby, all bets were off. And it is so addicting. It's
I
unbelievable.
absolutely agree with you. Cheese is the most difficult, but I think only for us. I spent 10 years of my life in Asia. I just moved out from Asia, and it's very different over there because people were not raised with cheese.
Mm.
Or if you ever try Asian cheese, it's not great, so not much to regret. So people have a slightly different perception about it
Yeah.
than maybe Europeans, Americans will have about cheese, because our cheeses are really good. And we've been raised with that, and I didn't know how to cook without cheese. I was
Hmm.
thinking, oh, it's so bland. Everything was like, oh, tasteless.
Yeah.
Lasagna, the pasta. I just didn't know it. It took me a really long time to learn how to cook, not only for my guests, but first for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you don't like it, why would you
Yes,
want to share with other people?
absolutely. I still think nutritional yeast can be a game changer. If any new vegans or vegan aspiring listening to us, I think for beginners, nutritional yeast, it's a game changer in your
Yeah.
kitchen. One
Yeah.
ingredient which can absolutely dramatically change your dish from boring and bland to something what is actually quite exciting.
Yeah. It took me a long time actually to embrace nutritional yeast. And I actually prefer the version that isn't fortified. And I know that it's super helpful to have the fortification because we're getting our B vitamins in our food. But I find for me, there's like an aftertaste that I pick up on. But the non-fortified ones, at least what I can get here in the US, that gives it that salty, cheesy umami flavor that we're looking for when we're looking for that taste of cheese.
I wouldn't be worried if you take B12 supplementation. You're already covered on this
Yeah.
side, so I wouldn't be worried about B12 from nutritional yeast, because it's still rather a small portion of what we need. So I would rather focus on B12 supplementation than getting B12 from nutritionalist. As long as you enjoy it, I would say go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Is I think that people, if they have that same experience with the B12 fortified nooch that I've had, and they'll just write, because I wrote off nooch for years, and now I use it, and I've really been missing out all those years I wasn't using it.
Well, my another trick, and obviously that's a bit of my time in Asia. I know the miso paste sounds Asian, but it works amazing in the Western recipes. It's just matter of balance. Less is better. If you add just a teaspoon to your mac and cheese or to your just a cheesy pasta, miso paste, white miso paste, not a brown miso paste.
Okay.
If you go to the Asian stores, you will easily find both. It's another great ingredient. It gives you the same benefit of fermented food as yogurt, because miso paste, it's a fermented soya bean paste. However, nowadays you can find fermented chickpea, fermented brown rice I've seen, but it adds extra umami flavor. I would say even stronger than nutritionalist. So experiment even in a Western recipes. You don't have to use it only in Asian food.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for that. I'll definitely give that a try.
Try it with hummus. Talking about hummus with miso paste, it's absolutely amazing because it's so rich in umami flavor.
Yeah, okay. Making a note right now. Miso in my hummus.
1 tablespoon for 1 tin of chickpeas. I use very often tin. Yeah.
Thank you. That is awesome. I'm going to give that a try this week. So you've mentioned a couple times about living in Asia. What is it like being vegan? Do you find that it's easier than when you were in Poland or where you are now in Portugal? Like, what was kind of that experience of being vegan in Asia?
I cannot comment on Portugal yet. I'm here like 2-3 weeks, so I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
At the moment it's great, but I don't want to go yet there.
Sure.
Poland, where I'm coming from, it's actually surprisingly easy. I would say it's easier than in Portugal in terms of grocery shopping, in terms of restaurants. Asia, Singapore, when I spent 10 years of my life, because it's so westernized place, I would say it's very easy. Okay. When you go out of places like Malaysia, Indonesia, which are both heavily meat dominated, unfortunately, it's a bit of the problem. If you don't speak the language, then shrimp paste, it's your biggest enemy, because the stir fry green vegetables, stir fry broccoli, they have a hidden shrimp paste. You don't see it. And if people don't understand what means vegan, and very often they don't understand the concept that the shrimp paste, because it's hidden, it's a paste, not piece of fish, that actually makes it not vegan. I very often had a one bite and I knew it's fish. And I always went to the places where I found them on any of the apps like Happy Cow or even on TripAdvisor when they had the vegan recommendations, or if I knew that people would speak English. I would not trust if I don't have a clear communication that we understand the ingredients. Not only confirming, yes, it's vegan, but what does it mean? Right. Vegan doesn't mean only that there is no big piece of chicken on your plate. Exactly. That also means there is no any animal-derived ingredient which has been used to prepare that dish, and this is a bit more problematic. In some places like Thailand, when you say you're Buddhist, so in Thailand, I will never say I'm vegan. I would say I'm Buddhist, and then yes, food is vegan. That makes it easy, but it doesn't work in all places in Asia. Okay. So I would always say rely on the app or any reviews which you can find online. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Or I mean, maybe have you found that the translation apps, like if someone didn't speak the language, is that effective enough? No. Okay. No. You just learn how to say no shrimp paste. It's just so difficult what people understand under vegan and vegetarian. Very often if the soup is full of vegetables but cooked on a chicken broth, people say it's vegetarian, and You really have to go to the very detailed level of conversation to figure it out what has been used to actually prepare your dish. Like Asian breads, even when they call it baguette, a traditional French baguette is always vegan because there is no milk or no egg used. Asian baguette almost always have milk. It's actually
Oh,
almost never vegan. Although they call it baguette, it looks like baguette, but it's softer.
hmm.
And the softness comes from milk or milk powder.
Wow. Okay. I
And
didn't.
again, we're going to the very, very detailed level of conversation, which you can only have if someone speaks a very, very good English, or you speak the local language, or
Right.
you have some local friends.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting too, because here, even in the US, like, even those of us who all speak English, there's still confusion over what vegetarian is versus what vegan is. And or even when I was first vegetarian, I remember I went out to a standard like American restaurant and I expected to have just something with cheese on it. And I ordered, the vegetarian version of whatever it was. And my server said to me, she's like, "Oh, you're vegetarian? I'm vegetarian too. This chicken dish is really good." And I was like a new vegetarian, and I was like, "How does she not know that chicken is not vegetarian?"
I think that's the problem, that obviously none of the country in the world regulates what it means. My
Mhm.
problem is people who reduce the meat or cheese, but they're eating,
Mhm.
and they actually make a biggest harm to F&B industry. Because I met some, especially ladies, "Oh, I'm vegetarian. Can I have some prawns?" And then imagine if you had this poor waiter who heard it once, then you have
Mhm.
another vegetarian person. What do you recommend them? Prawns.
Right.
Because the previous vegetarian, that's what they ordered.
Mhm.
And sometimes I think it's actually confused the entire staff because
Yeah.
people they define themselves as a vegetarian, vegan, but then they allowed for those animal products in on the plate, and it caused a huge confusion to the
Yeah.
staff and to the kitchen.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. Now, hopefully, like that's one of the reasons why I always use the word vegan. I know that now a lot of people they either associate vegan with junk food. So a lot of people only want to call themselves whole food plant-based, even though the rest they are actually living a vegan lifestyle. Or, people are like, "Oh, all vegans are like angry and the vegan police." But I use that word all the time because I want the definition to be clear. And so everywhere I go, not that I have a huge reach, right? But everywhere I go, and we all have the power to do this, is I am very clear about being vegan, what it means, whether I'm like at a restaurant or like buying a new pair of shoes, to have that conversation every chance I get. But yeah, the like we've got to I hope that one day we find a way, whether it's because it's regulated or there's just enough of us using that word that more often than not people will understand it. That's my goal. I know it's lofty.
I still think it requires regulation. In Asia, for example, the Buddhist vegetarians don't eat onion and garlic.
Oh,
And I used to conduct cooking classes in Singapore where few people commented to me, "Your food is not vegan, you use onion and garlic." And I always explain, my food is vegan, but I'm not religious. I don't promote it as a Buddhist friendly food. But I understand it's not suitable for them. But very often people will think onion and garlic is not vegan and vegetarian. So there's so many
oh
different
gosh.
definitions. I do think it requires certain legal regulation,
Mhm.
and then you either fit into that regulation or you don't.
Right, exactly. Well, hopefully we'll see that one day. That would be amazing if we could have that. I mean, they want there's regulations on so many things. Why not find a way because it can hurt so many people too, right? You end up getting a dish that has animal products in it and whether it physically makes you sick, which it can because our bodies aren't used to processing animals, and also it can be really emotionally harmful.
Yes, if you
Yeah.
didn't eat meat for years. Well, this year in UK, I don't know that you follow that, in UK, there was a lady, she was vegan, but she had a very, very serious lactose intolerance. She died because
Oh.
this was one of the chain which sold the sandwiches, and they bought bread from external supplier. So they made the sandwiches, and obviously all the filling in sandwiches was made by them, and that was vegan. They didn't control, or maybe they somehow omitted to declare that the bread itself had a milk or milk powder. I don't remember, but the lady died.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
It's extreme. It's
Yeah.
absolutely extreme, but for some people it might be really, really dangerous.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I appreciate the labeling, here in the US, even something that is vegan, if it's made in a factory where they also process things that have milk, it will actually say may contain traces of milk.
Yes, the same as in EU. The restaurant is the bigger problem.
Yeah. Yep, that's true, because you don't see that a lot on menus, right?
Now that you never know what spatula they use to stir things, what fryer has been used.
Mhm.
Here it comes to trust, to build relationship with the place you like.
Right. Yeah. And I think it too, sometimes it feels more important to encourage these places to add more vegan options than to be the person who's like, what fryer are you using? Are you going to use a different spoon? Like, of course, at home, or if you're at a friend's house or something, you would make sure that your friend didn't double dip the spoon, right?
Yes.
But yeah, at these restaurants where we want to have more vegan options, and I think not only for us, but for the non-vegans who see it and, they're in a place they're familiar with, all of the other food on the menu seems normal to them. To see like a vegan option, they might be more willing to try it. So even if it's a place that we necessarily wouldn't always want to go to encourage them to keep adding more things. I think sometimes I don't raise the issue of shared fryers or spoons and things like that for that reason. But sometimes I know, because then my stomach is upset for the rest of the night.
No, yeah, absolutely. I hope to see more vegan options. Sometimes it's better to be kind to these places than coming harshly with aggressive, negative
Right.
comments online. If they take it on board, it's good. Problem starts if they don't.
Yeah. Yep. So your focus is a lot around health, right? That's
Yes.
your thing. So tell me kind of about your approach. And you had mentioned about, being motivated by your family members, your grandmother and your mom facing breast cancer. So just kind of take us through that and how you've come to this like healthy eating perspective.
When I turned 30, I decided that's the time to start to think about health. And actually, that's scary what results you can get if you Google what to do to be healthy. There will be thousands of supplements, treatments, retreats, a lot of different solutions. And some of them obviously didn't make sense. Some of them, especially a lot of supplements producers, they have a lot of health claims on the website, and they have a lot of medical professionals recommended that, but somehow it didn't speak to me. So when I read about whole food plant-based diet, and that's how I take it today, 5 years after, I see it as an investment in my future. Because when you think about it, and I did not think about it when I was 20 years old, but when I turned 30, that was time, that every single meal we have, there's every single snack, when you have chips, when you are in hurry, or when you have a sugary soda drink, when you feel a bit tired, all those little things we eat and drink, it's our investment in our body. And when you are 20, 30, if you have good genes, maybe even 40, you will be fine. It's our body, it's a very clever mechanism. It will not collapse after a short period of time on unhealthy eating. But unfortunately, in order to enjoy your late stage of your life in full health, in a stage when you can walk yourself, walk alone without any assistance, in order to live without any medicine and to simply enjoy life. There is no shortcut, there is no treatment, there is no pill, there is no supplement. It's simple healthy eating. And I know that those producers of chickpeas or producers of tomatoes, okay, they don't have a million or $1 billion marketing budgets, and they don't always advertise the benefits of the products, as well as some supplements which have a huge budget. But I still encourage to eat them, to try it, again, to invest in your future.
Yeah, I love that. I think the first time I heard someone talk about like the end of like your later years, like are you dying for 10, 15 years before you actually die, or are you living up until the point when your body is naturally ready to just let go?
Yeah, so modern medicine, the modern, I read interesting studies that actually doesn't increase length of our life. It's just change the sorry. It doesn't change quality of our life, but increase the length of our life. What it means that you can be stuck in bed age of 60, 70 and live like this for 20 years. The question is whether that's what you want.
Right.
And that's the question you should ask yourself age of 30 or 40.
Yeah.
However, there were interesting studies on a whole food plant-based diet which showed that if you start to age of 20, it have whole food plant-based diet, you can increase length of your life about 12 years old. But the same studies for the women age of 60, they can still increase the length of their life about 7 to 8 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
So it's never too late, basically.
Yeah.
Even if you're 60, it's never too late.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you have any suggestions or tips on how people listening can start to kind of follow that lifestyle so they can have those happy years?
Simpler, it's actually better.
Okay.
And I know that in supermarket, there are a lot of tempting products, starting from junk food, equivalents now of every meat. You can find a plant-based chicken, plant-based beef. I can see now plant-based fish and seafood. And keep it as a treat sometimes. It's when I say sometimes, I would say probably twice a month, not like once a week. But nobody can invent anything better than chickpeas, lentils, tofu, if you have access to tempeh. In that sense, simpler is better. And I know that those produce might find, you might find a bit boring, but I think what is exciting about cooking is what you can do with them. And when you close your eyes, the flavor of food does not come from the main ingredient. It does not come from meat. It does not come from chickpeas, but with all the spices which you use. When you close your eyes, the Indian food is the garam masala curry flavor. Italian food come with basil aroma. Arabic will come with Arabic za'atar. So you can infuse all those basic ingredients, tofu, chickpeas, lentils, and you can make Italian style chickpeas. You can make Middle Eastern lentils. If you look, Lebanese cuisine use a lot of lentils. Tofu, which is obviously part of the Asian heritage for thousands of years, but it works amazing in Italian dishes. If you marinate it with pesto, you can either find a plant-based pesto or make it from scratch at home, absolutely oil-free. Infuse it with pesto and you have a tofu Italian style. You can make it chickpeas, obviously chickpea curry, which is absolutely amazing, but also French style added to ratatouille with vegetables, and then you have some protein. So options, I mean, sky is your limit.
Yeah. And my favorite thing about tofu is that it really does take on the flavors that it's so mild in and of itself, and it just takes on whatever you put in it. And
Yes.
it's so good. I put it in tacos, I put it in Italian dishes, in with lentils, and it's there. You're right. There's no end to what we can do with it.
Yes, if you don't like tofu, it means you don't know how to cook it.
Exactly. You are 100% right about that. I've seen that meme. It's like, you think tofu is gross, like, something like, tell me, or it's one of those like, tell me you can't cook without telling me you can't cook. And you're like, tofu's gross.
Now, the tofu, it's amazing and requires, it doesn't even require much of preparation, but yes, it has to be marinated. It has to get a chance and opportunity to absorb other flavors which are
Mhm.
around.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. You know, something I recently tried, I've seen it in the store a bunch of times. I've bought it and never actually cooked it, but I made it from scratch 2 weeks ago. Polenta.
Yes,
Oh, so
try
good.
polenta chips. That's Italian classic when you
Okay.
um, don't add too much water. And then you bake it absolutely oil-free in the oven and cut it as a chips.
Oh,
With fresh rosemary, absolutely amazing.
oh my
And
gosh.
that's a healthy alternative to potato chips.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, I had it with made the polenta, and then on top of it I had roasted some zucchini, squash, and something else. And there was like basil. I added basil at the end, and oh my goodness, it was so simple, like you were saying, but so good. And polenta was creamy, and oh my
Yes,
goodness.
it's rich and creamy. Yes, I agree. Satisfying. No, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Now we're like, it's just all about how amazing food is. So, all right. So, first tip is to keep it simple. Do you have any other suggestions?
It's not a popular suggestion, but try to cook at home. And
Mm,
I don't cook at home every day. I mean, that's unrealistic, and I
yeah.
know it.
Hmm.
But try to cook at home as much as possible. And I know, I'm guessing everywhere in the world now there are delivery services, very easy available, also financially affordable. Keep them for the emergency, but not for the regular everyday dinner. Turn cooking, learn to love it. That's all what I can say. If you married or if you're in a relationship, turn it into a romantic date when you can cook naked and make a night out of that. If you have a lot of girlfriends, then invite your girlfriend and each of you can make a different part of the dish and assemble it together. If you have children, that's one of the best time of spend a quality time with your children, not just sitting and watching TV. I don't think there is a shortcut around cooking at home, unfortunately, and I do know it's not a popular statement. Learn the meal planning. Not everything has to be cooked from scratch every day. You can roast a big tray of vegetables on Sunday, and on Monday use them for vegetable soup. For Tuesday for roasted vegetable salad with either quinoa or buckwheat or brown rice, any basically grain you like. And on Wednesday you can make a creamy soup from just blend the same vegetables and make a creamy soup. If you want to add extra protein, my recommendation is do a little croutons added from roasted chickpeas or tofu, and then you have a one balanced meal in a one bowl. But this is just one roasted vegetables on Sunday, and you have 3 dishes out of that.
hmm
Find your shortcuts. It's nothing wrong with a little cheating here and there, but make sure this is healthy cheating, that this is not from the supermarket aisle, but it's yours. You can freeze it. People are afraid of freezing, and freezing it's actually the best way to preserve food, because yes, there is a loss of nutrient, but it's mostly vitamin C which is lost. So the iron, calcium, all those proteins, this these nutrients are there is no loss in them. So don't be afraid of have your own ready meals
hmm
taken from the freezer.
Yeah.
So cook at home, that would be my second rule.
I love it. Yeah. I've definitely embraced that more. my husband and I have gone through phases where it's like, it's takeout constantly, sometimes 3 meals a day. And my goodness, what that does to your physical energy, the kind of the emotional impact, your financial impact. Oh my gosh, it is so much less expensive to go to the grocery store, like you said, spend a little bit of time batch cooking some things. And I love to make like a big pot of soup and freeze like half of it in smaller containers. So just
That's
take it out.
amazing.
Yeah. And it really, it's time saving. It's still just as delicious, sometimes more so, right? Flavors have more time to meld together. And it's really wonderful. I love that suggestion. I hope a lot more people take that up because it really is a game changer for sure.
Yes, and with a healthy eating, I think a lot comes from our mind. We have to unlearn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
When you think, when we were a small babies, it took us a year or 2 years to learn to like chicken nuggets for those who like them, or to like a creamy chocolate cake. Your
Mm-hmm.
mother didn't give it to you the week or 2 weeks after you were born, but it took some time for you to get it in your diet. And I would say spend the same time to unlearn to like some things. If you like fizzy drinks, they might be vegan. That's actually irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
They're really really bad for you. And I would say the only way is to spend time to unlearn it. And first month or two might be extremely uncomfortable. And I speak from experience. I felt it about the cheese, so I know how difficult, and it was physically difficult to see cheeses everywhere. I mean, you every day you pass some pizza place, you pass a place when you see this cheesy lasagna and a parmesan on the top of pasta. So it wasn't easy, and I know it either came from my mind. It wasn't natural. It didn't just come. It was my internal conversations like, no, why you don't have it? No, it's bad for you. No, there are studies which shows there is a link between cancer and dairy. But spend this time, because I think 2 months, 3 months, and you can unlearn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 months of your life.
Right. Yeah. That's such a good point that I think we kind of expect, like, oh, I've decided I'm going to eat a certain way now, and that's just how it's going to be. And there's so much that we've learned over the years of what we're supposed to eat, what we're supposed to like. And then to think that just because, oh, I just want to feel better, that suddenly all those things won't have that same pull is like, yeah, we have to give ourselves grace and be kind and just know that we'll get through it, and we
Yes.
can then really enjoy those really tasty, healthy meals, and we don't feel like we're missing anything.
No, absolutely. I would say invest this time and be prepared. It might be uncomfortable, because it will be.
Yeah,
Nothing what is worth to fight to have in life comes easily.
that's right.
The same as with the eating, and your health should be your reward in the future.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Your health can be the reward. That's really powerful.
That is
Yeah,
true, and
it
people
is,
don't.
right? Yeah.
I had when I was in Singapore this year, I had a meeting with a young mm, guy who wanted to start a vegan vending machines, and I used to consult restaurants. I never consulted vending machines, but he found me, and on our first meeting, it was waste of my time. He said, "I want something vegan and unhealthy."
Mm.
I was like, "Excuse me, what?" People will not pay for healthy vegan food. Can you make something vegan, greasy, and unhealthy? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the notion that somebody from that's actually fundament of the business, that's the base of his business, that it has to be unhealthy. To me, it's scary. It's really, really scary that people can think this way and they can go this direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We think about all the I was blown away when I first started to read books about and start to understand these large food companies and how much time and money they spend on food scientists to find the bliss point, that mix of that fat,
Yes.
salt, and sugar.
Yes.
It's horrifying. And we just fall prey to it because that's how we're wired. We don't even realize
Absolutely.
it's happening. It's really scary.
Absolutely. Well, read your food labels. That's another thing.
Right.
That read them wherever you. I am now in Portugal, and I'm with my Google Translator in the supermarket. I'm reading my food labels, where I still don't understand it. But you have to understand what you're buying.
Yeah.
It's my shortcut. It's always that I spend time for the first time. I really read everything, but once I find the brand I like, I tend to stick to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know you cannot every single week to read the ingredient of your favorite plant-based milk. Once you find one, to stick to that. Spend
Mm-hmm.
just once this time for the research. Find something what you like and something what has a decent ingredients, not sugar and fat,
Right.
because you
Yes,
don't need it in your milk.
exactly. And whenever we can, right, buy things that don't have labels. Our fruits and vegetables that are in the produce section,
Absolutely.
no
Yes,
label.
absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what you do.
I'm the founder of HealthyWithAnia, which is a platform helping busy professionals to help their diet and to help them realize the connection between diet and their wellness, the productivity, the effectiveness at work. Because I think what is a slight misconception now that the healthy diet, because vegan it's already mainstream, but vegan became unhealthy. So when you think about healthy food, people think it's either for some fitness athletes, celebrities, which they have to look good for the job, but they don't think that when they sit 8 hours or now probably even longer in front of the laptop or computer, they have to eat healthy. That the food which they're eating is the fuel for the body, but it's also for the brain. That you cannot be effective at work, productive at work 5 days a week for 20 years if you're not healthy. It's a bit more than a just size of your jeans which you're fitting in being healthy, because I think people see it very shallow. It's like, oh, I don't need it. And to me, everyone, regardless of the job which you have, you need it. And especially if it's a high stress job like senior management, CEOs of the companies, they have to understand it, that eating healthy is part of the success. It's part of the KPIs which they should meet, just like the company.
Yeah. I love that you put it in those terms. Like you use an acronym like KPI, because that is going to, like, they're going to hear that, right? They might not be, they'll be kind of listening, oh, healthy eating, it's good for me when I'm busy at work in front of my laptop all day. You say KPI and they're like, what'd she say? Because that's like meaningful to them, and you can get, because now you understand them, right? They hear that language, you get it. And I think that's just such a clever, wonderful way to put that.
I spent 11 years of my life in the corporate world. And what I've seen was actually not very good. The more successful people were, the more senior they were. I saw that the diet and the healthy eating was less and less important. And the financial reports, obviously the numbers to deliver, the KPIs, that was far more important. And then I agree with all of this is important, but I still think, I hope that the biggest asset of your company, it's you.
Right.
Because without you, if you collapse, the company, that will be second thing which will collapse after you. And I saw that people age of 50, even if they didn't suffer from heart attack, they already had a cardiovascular diseases. They already struggled. The company, I used to live in Denmark for 11 years, and they had a very interesting concept of meet and walk, or walk and meet, that they encourage people to take their meetings once walking outside.
Mm.
And I saw people were out of breath, age of 50, and I'm talking simple walk. It wasn't a jogging. And that's really, really sad that this part of your life has been neglected very often for many, many years, because you were working for your professional success. But I don't believe professional success can exist without your health. It sounds trivial to say health is wealth, but it is. It really is. It's the biggest asset you have. And I spotted that especially for the certain individuals, for the working professionals, there is a lot of the supplements, magic solutions, which you take the pill a day and people think, oh, that's expensive, it will work. And I'm actually sorry to say it, but sometimes the cheapest, the easiest solution work better than those expensive supplements and treatments. So I'm going for a retreat 3 times a year to the most exotic resorts. It's just not going to work. It's lovely, I'm sure it is, but that will not replace your everyday healthy eating. It just doesn't work this way.
Yeah, it's so much more about what we're doing consistently every day than what we do on a one-off thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you think about people who are very much tied to their work and, kind of stuck at the laptop or in and out of meetings all day, is that there's a lot of takeout happening, and they're not choosing salads and stuff. They're choosing a sandwich they can mindlessly eat, right? Or when they have to entertain clients, they're taking them to these, crazy expensive steak places, and that's what they're eating. And how many times a week are they doing that? And there's like, we've got to get them thinking that they've got to take another approach to that, but also that it can be just as easy, right?
It is easy nowadays. I mean, I lived in Europe and Asia. I visited US. In those 3 continents, I know you have no excuses. It's really easy. You just have to make an effort. It's difficult if you don't make an effort. If you just know 2 restaurants in town, you're always visiting, and they don't serve the food, it means you simply didn't spend 5 minutes on Google to research something else. You can find tons of recipes to bring your lunch from home, to have a lunch box. And it can be really delicious. You can find delivery to your office of catering, which is healthy. Although I still talking about hummus, and hummus can be a very healthy dish. But some of the restaurants, when they put a tons of olive oil on the top, it does make me think. It really does make me think. So I still believe cooking from scratch is better, but I understand that cannot happen for the office events. Find a healthy delivery of catering, and I'm sure you will find it. And higher the demand is, the more options will be there. We can see with the vegan options what happened in the last 10 years, which when you see statistics, I think it was thousands of 3,000 more vegan products on the market. That was for I think for UK. Than it was 3 years ago. We are not talking only about 100, 200%, 3,000 more vegan products. It's the demand created that.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see where we're going, and even though so much of that is kind of in the like heavily processed arena, to know that we can start to get people to come our way, and then hopefully then introduce more vegetables into their life. But we're saving animals, we're reducing that demand, so the supply isn't there. So we have the ability, between the technology of creating these replica foods. And then so many people who are also really embracing and understanding the magic of vegetables, we can completely change this planet and how we can stop harming it so much. And we can there'd just be so much more, I think, kindness in the world if
Yes.
we can change how people are eating on a day-to-day basis.
And I know going vegan, whole food, plant-based sounds extreme. If you cannot, don't try all the way through. Try first a day a week, 3, 4, 5 days a week. Maybe pick one meal a day, maybe eat breakfast and lunch and dinner. I understand it's not easy to maybe get a food revolution overnight. Every single change helps, and if you eat plant-based about 60-70% of your entire meals, that's already a huge benefit for your health.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't go all the way through, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. That's
Right.
what I'm trying to say. That's great if that's your goal to go whole food plant-based diet, but don't get discouraged if you cannot do it all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's so many people who maybe they have family members who at least at this point are like, I'm not on board. And it's a lot to maybe you're the person who cooks the food, so you're making multiple meals. So yeah, it's again one of those moments where we give ourselves grace, we make changes, we note how we feel, and I think we can find a way through. But it's not always overnight, and no one should feel like it has to be overnight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, there's not a pressure of this, just what you see on social media, that somebody made a dramatic change in their life. And this is what I said, I didn't have a breakthrough moment. You don't have to have it. You can just slowly implement the changes, and that's already a great step forward.
Yeah, I agree. So tell us about your favorite hummus recipe. Got to talk about hummus on Did You Bring the Hummus?
So to start with, any recipe, I would always encourage to go oil-free, and we can share the recipe.
Yep.
That's the trick which I learned a long time ago from the elderly Israeli guy when I used to live in Denmark. So now it's probably more than 12 years ago. And olive oil used to be a pricey ingredient when you look for 40, 50 years back. So it wasn't used as generously as it's used today. And what works really perfectly are ice cubes or really icy cold water. And if you blend it with your chickpeas, with your tahini paste, lemon juice, cumin, garlic, it gives you extra creaminess. It's the same as happening with this banana ice cream. Yes, when you freeze the banana, after you blend it, you get the banana ice cream. The same creaminess of icy cold water, they add the creaminess to your hummus. So that will be my first tip. And we talked about it before. I actually like a bit of the Asian flavor, so the one with miso. But if you have a green curry paste, like a Thai style, either homemade or shop bought, just please be careful. It has to be clearly marked vegan, because traditional green curry paste, it's always with the shrimp paste. So you have to check the ingredients. And if you I add like a teaspoon, because it's usually very concentrated. It's very intense. And you have green curry hummus.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I am going to give the ice cube trick a try, and I'm going to find myself some green curry and give it a try in the hummus as well.
Yes. Then obviously depends how you like spiciness. Play around. First, add less, because you can add more. Some of them can be super spicy.
Okay. That's wonderful. So how can people work with you? Do you do one-on-one coaching, classes, workshops?
At the moment, I'm based in Portugal. So for anyone who is based in Portugal, I'm open to open face-to-face. Otherwise, people can work with me still on an individual basis via Zoom or Google Meet on nutritional consultations. offering a 6 months plant-based program to change your life. Because I do believe that changing diet is a bit more than changing size of your jeans. It can dramatically change your life. And I'm working with companies to help their employees maybe just get a bit of understanding about the food, to raise the awareness about importance of healthy eating, to teach that the food can be a part of the professional success. So actually should be part of the professional success.
Yeah, that is awesome. Ania, thank you so much for joining me today. This was amazing. So much information, helpful information, and I know that the listeners are just going to love it. I really appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kimberly, for your time. And anyone listening to that, you can always reach out to me directly on Instagram or Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you feel ready to tackle a new way of living? Have you noted the tips Ania mentioned? Keep it simple. Cook at home. Be willing to unlearn what you think you like. Invest time and accept you might be uncomfortable. And when you find a brand you like, stick to it to reduce time in the grocery store and decision fatigue. You can connect with Ania through her website, HealthyWithAnia.com. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook under Healthy with Ania. She also has a Facebook group if you'd like to join that. And in addition to the links to her website and her various social media, I've also included in the show notes the link to that oil-free hummus recipe that we discussed. I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're loving it, please give Did You Bring the Hummus a 5-star rating. It's an easy way to keep supporting the show. You're also invited to join my free Facebook group for fans of the show. You can find the link to that in the show notes as well. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Did You Bring the Hummus, and visit my website, didyouBringTheHummus.com, for more information about me, updates on what I'm working on, new podcast episodes, and all things vegan. And of course, I would love to hear from you. What do you need help with? Is there a topic you want to hear covered on a future episode? DM me on Instagram or send me an email at didyouBringTheHummus@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.